La propera presentació és a càrrec d'en Dan, el màrqueting, senyor del màrqueting, i la seva ponència, el títol és El futur de les tecnologies del màrqueting i com esdevenir una destinació de confiança mitjançant continguts gràfics generats pels seus usuaris. Thank you, Dan.
It's a real honor to be here speaking with you. I want to say a special thank you to UNWTO, to Andorra. It's beautiful here. I had the pleasure of driving up last night. It was a clear evening, just enough clouds that you could see this orange and yellows lighting up over these jagged peaks as you're driving up toward Andorra. It was spectacular. Also, I feel like, because I've been a great beneficiary of our incredible translators at the back, let's give them a round of applause right now, just to say thank you to our translators. I think it's amazing that they also, thank you. They also have to translate that thank you about themselves, which I thought was going to be kind of fun. And they've been terrific. It's helped me follow along with all of the incredible knowledge being shared today. So, we're going to be talking about something that's been very important to a lot of tourism organizations, and that is how can we use incredible visuals to instill more confidence and trust in our products and in the variety of products that we have as an organization. And my name is, again, Dan Holowack. I founded CrowdRiff about 4 years ago. We have the incredible pleasure of working with now over 300 destinations and travel organizations. Many of those are mountain-related destinations, some in Europe, in Canada, in the United States, in all over the world. And so when we start here, I wanted to provide some context about why this is so important right now. We are in this new era that I like to call an era of visual decision-making. Now, we've always been a species that's very visual. That hasn't changed. But there are some incredible trends that are converging now that make this so important. One is the incredible volume of photos. There was 1 trillion photos taken on iPhones last year. And whenever you visit a destination, you have to wait for space to take just the perfect photo or selfie. And as you observe this, there's photography being taken all across your destination. There's just so much content. Also, we as humans have to make more decisions every day than ever before. Where are we going to eat? Where to stay? What to do? What to buy? There are so many decisions. We are looking for a way to make those decisions in ways that we feel confident in, that primarily, is asking friends and family, trusted friends. But it's also in visual content that we can process faster. If it's authentic, then we can build that trust a lot faster with the organization. You'll observe this behavior whenever you're using sites like TripAdvisor or, say, Yelp or on Instagram. Who could have imagined that we would be planning our trips on Instagram? A lot of us now, when we're in that dream phase of planning a trip, we're bookmarking things on Instagram. There's no prices. You don't know what that trip's going to look like yet, but you are so inspired and drawn to those visuals that we just gravitate towards that before we end up reading text. But it's not just any visual. It's very important that there's a kind of visual that's been really emerging, and that is user-generated content. You've heard a little bit about that today. A study at Elon University found that 2/3 of consumers have used user-generated photos to decide on making a purchase decision, and that 65% of us trust user-generated content over brand content. I think maybe brands have done this themselves a little bit with perhaps photoshopped content, and consumers have with all the advertising that's happening and data and things have sort of come to not trust brands quite as easily. And so if you can find that right mix of user-generated photos with your own brand product photos, it can really instill trust. So now let's talk about some very practical examples of how you can start to implement this kind of photography and video into your destination or resort or tour to better attract and engage travelers. I'm going to share 3 examples with you, and then we're going to talk about the future of this technology and where it's headed in this industry. The state of Colorado started to significantly increase their investment in user-generated content about 3 years ago. And as part of that, they encouraged all of their visitors and locals to use the hashtag #ColoradoLive. Now, you don't have to have a hashtag. It's nice to anchor your messaging around a hashtag, but you can collect and search these photos based on location, accounts, and other information on social media as well. And over the last couple of years, they've started to see thousands of photos and videos produced every single day. And now there's over 100,000 photos on Instagram with the hashtag #ColoradoLive. And these are not just poor quality selfies. Like, I think there is this feeling that photos on social media are of lesser quality, and perhaps it was like that years ago. But the resolution of these photos has increased about 7 times in the years I've been running CrowdRiff. And the quality of the phones we're taking these photos with have improved. And what Colorado is finding is that these photos are actually capturing experiences all across the state. Now, to put it in perspective, Colorado geographically is about the size of the United Kingdom. So one tourism team at Colorado can not possibly cover every corner of the state and the different events and attractions and across every season of what's going on. But the locals and the travelers can, and so they just look to tap into that content. And they were one of the first to really start to leverage this content across their marketing. Now, a lot of people have been using user-generated content as a way to simply repost to Twitter or repost to Instagram, maybe to embed it in a blog post. But what Colorado has been doing is they've been getting full legal rights to these photos. And so when they see a photo like this, a beautiful image, they click a button, and we facilitate this outreach. Looks something like this up on screen. So a comment is placed on this photo that says, "What a beautiful shot. We'd like to use it in our advertising to share with everyone. If you agree and are 18 plus, please reply with hashtag #YesColorado." Now, only the owner of this account can reply with that hashtag, and when they do, our software takes a screenshot of that interaction, saves it to the servers with the timestamp. And there's different ways of getting rights. This is one option, but there's other ways that display legal terms and conditions alongside the photos you're requesting, and then they provide approval. And as a result of this, Colorado now has thousands upon thousands of authentic photos and videos that they can use in print, in digital, in video, and it's really helped to enable their team. As a result, they've amassed millions of followers and just an overall audience size that's continued to grow. And they've served these images 5 million times across channels. Just an incredible amount of content now that they can tap into and share with all kinds of different personas of travelers. And as far as the real economic value, to put this again in perspective, so Colorado welcomed 77 million annual visitors, generated billions in economic impact, over $1 billion in taxes collected. And it's also very important to note that they grew 2 times the national average over the most recent sort of economic challenges facing them in North America. But you don't have to be a huge billions in revenue, tourism destination to take advantage of this content. Blue Mountain is a nice place to go with your family, with friends to go skiing, and they have a small team. They have somebody on their marketing team that has to handle all kinds of marketing, email, social media, etc. And they use user-generated content to populate great images across their website. So they can find these photos, they can do searches for these photos, select what they want, and push it right up onto their website. And it saves them a lot of time and helps them produce more content. Julie is one of their key marketing specialists, And what we heard from her was she loves this real-time aspect. And that's, again, when we talk about building confidence, building trust for a mountain destination, you got to think about the question marks in people's minds. It's like, well, is the snow really, is there really a lot of powder there right now? Is that sunset that I see from, is that like a photo from 2 years ago that they just haven't really refreshed? When you have this real-time content, you can be pushing it up, and instead of it being a year old, these photos can be a day old, and you can say, if you're here skiing, you are going to experience this right now. This is what people are experiencing right now. This is what enjoying a nice beverage after you're done skiing feels like now in the sunset, and all of those experiences around the mountain. And then within the resort, they also display these visuals up on screens. So when you're waiting in line for lift tickets, or for rentals, or eating lunch, you see these photos up on slideshows on screens all over the resort. It does a couple of things. It really recognizes those guests and travelers that are taking and sharing photos with who knows how many hundreds or thousands of their friends on social media. And it also introduces the people that are there to other things that they can see and do. Maybe there's different parts of the resort they haven't experienced, or spas, or tubing, or luge, or different experiences that they can have that they see in those photos. And as Dan here says, it's about those in-the-moment stories that you want to capture. Another really important topic, and this is an amazing byproduct that's created from user-generated content, and that's diversity. Diversity is incredibly important. It always has been, but it's so incredibly important today. And with user-generated content, you not only get diversity of seasons, diversity of your products, but diversity of people, right? Whether it's a girls' weekend to Blue Mountain, or it's a family, families from different backgrounds all over the world coming to visit, it would take a lot of money to hire people, to hire models to be in these photos, and it still wouldn't be as powerful. And if you have the benefit of having people from all over the world come visit, even if there's not a lot of them, they are still going to be taking some of those photos. If you can capture that, you can certainly use that in your marketing. And this was working so well for Blue Mountain that they were featured in the New York Times as helping new immigrants to Canada kind of experience skiing, experience winter, and how they welcomed them and introduced them to the ski resort. And I just think that says a lot. We heard about the importance of building empathy for other ways of life, and I think that being able to showcase the diversity of people in your destination will just help encourage that. Now let's go a little bit further west to British Columbia. They've been doing a lot of incredible work in tourism, and they're one of our partners we've been working with for many years. British Columbia built this experience. I believe it's the first in the world completely visual trip planning tool powered entirely by Instagram in this case. So they were able to organize these photos and then categorize and tag them so that you could make them very browsable. So what you can do is you can open up the BC Explorer experience, click on Mountain Experiences, click a filter, and now we've got all the mountain-related experiences across British Columbia. Again, you could scroll for hours on Instagram trying to find all of these, but what they've done is just help the consumer put the images together, and they've curated that experience to guide their brand. You can click on an image that seems interesting to you, see more information, link to articles, link to evergreen native content that helps with SEO. You can even see these photos on a map so that you can get an idea of where, what you're interested in. And I often think, wouldn't it be great to start the dream state of being inspired to travel by just clicking on things that look good to you? Just being presented with food and activities and landscapes and music, concerts and all kinds of things. And you're just like, yeah, I like all these things. Now can you tell me, build me an itinerary around these things that I like? Maybe I haven't decided on the exact destination yet, or the number of days I'm going to stay, but I think this really helps with that early state of planning, and I love that. And so for British Columbia, they're generating about $17 billion in annual tourism revenue. 34% of Canadian ski trips are traveling out to British Columbia. And they've now had 3 million images shared with Explore BC. And actually, the province of British Columbia now has 7 million photos captured in CrowdRiff across the social networks from locals and visitors in BC that they can search and then request rights to. So let's take a moment and talk about the future of where things are headed. So as I mentioned, there's a couple of great trends and technologies that are converging. It's a great time to be in marketing in travel and tourism. The first is that in my time at CrowdRiff, it started out with social media hubs, and people would say, oh yes, we do the social media thing. It's over there on our website on this separate page. And that's how it started. We started just to test. But now it's becoming very mainstream. Now it's powering blogs, it's powering digital ads, it's being used in video, it's being used in print guides. We have customers that are generating entire print guides with traveler-generated photos, front to back, which I didn't realize I was going to see in this quickly. It's very exciting. And we're working with publishers like Lonely Planet that are now starting to use these images in their articles. And I think those are all great signals of the quality of this content. As more and more destinations are using user-generated content, there's a real need for collaboration. We've partnered with Destination Canada to build the first nationwide partner network for content that helps people collaborate and co-create content. What this means is that there's a lot of value generated when, say, somebody at the Royal Ontario Museum, you've got a museum attraction down here, they've got a new exhibit, they've got some great photos coming in. Well, Toronto's interested in that content, and Ontario's also interested, and Canada's also interested. And when you connect all of these stakeholders across tourism, you generate a lot of value and reduce the number of emails and phone calls that are going back and forth saying, hey, what's going on in your region? What's happening next week? Do you have a photo for this that I could use? Now they can actually reach in to these different collections of photography across regions and attractions and resorts and access that content immediately. And of course, to make a special mention, given big data and all the great conversations here about artificial intelligence and machine learning, now that we have this enormous volume, right, of photos, more photos than we know what to do with, AI and machine learning are important. This is a video. My wife and I got married last summer. We had our honeymoon in Norway, and this was a fjord tour. And this video we ran through CrowdRiff, and it identified all the keywords related to the video based on the scene in the video. So now you've got searchable video catalogs, and you can find content quickly, which is really important when there's a lot of visual content in front of you that you can access. So this technology now works with photos and with videos. You can also identify the right kinds of photos, right? Social media has all kinds of photos, good and bad, stuff you'd never want to use for your brand, and stuff that's amazing. We now have algorithms to identify the quality of images so that we can separate the things that you're going to love from the things that you just don't need to see and will never use. And that's just helping overall increase efficiency. So, to summarize, I think you should consider the power of user-generated content in the diversity that it can bring to the seasons, the products, the people in your destination, and in how that builds trust. In the volume of content that you can then use for incredible personalization, because you have so much content now, you can find little niche buckets and themes to target different personas. And of course, the ability to do all of this at a new level of scale. I would love to speak with you if you have an interest in this area, share more ideas from our customers and our experience. So please come find me or just send me an email. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan.